continued fallout from the Indiana Fever loss to the Dallas Wings at home in the home opener to a team that won 10 games last year. The fallout is getting like the fandom getting loud. By fandom, I mean Caitlin Clark fandom. You had a lot of things coming out of that. You had the great mystery of back injury. Is it a back injury compensating for something else? Was it a hip?
What happens when a head coach publicly admits she broke her own franchise's generational superstar? You don't just get a post-game soundbite. You get a digital mutiny. The Indiana Fever didn't just drop a home opener. They fractured at the foundation. Dallas walked into Gainbridge Fieldhouse and snatched a 3-point overtime victory. A lottery-caliber squad did it. But the real story wasn't the final buzzer. It was the press room. Stephanie White stood under the blinding lights, voice hollow, and did the unthinkable. She confessed. She literally told the country she made a catastrophic rotation mistake. She watched Caitlin Clark grind through 31 suffocating minutes. Kelsey Mitchell burned 33. Aaliyah Boston logged 28. The Big Three poured 73 points into a bottomless pit. And the second unit? Blank. Silent. Dead weight. White knew it. The cameras caught it. The moment she admitted it. The floor dropped out, but the confession was just a spark. The Real explosion lived in the timeout huddle. National microphones captured a chilling audio fragment with 60 seconds left. White turned to her assistants, hands shaking, and asked a question that will echo through Indiana for months. What do you think they're going to run? The supposed offensive architect, begging for a lifeline on live television while her franchise players drowned. It wasn't just a blown coverage. It was a lost identity. And while White panicked, a veteran scorer sat in street clothes. Shatori Walker-Kimbro, 18 preseason points. Instant offense. Fully healthy. DNP, coach's decision. You do not freeze your most reliable bench weapon. Watch your starters collapse in overtime. And then cry about roster construction. That isn't strategy. That is surrender. Yet, that is exactly what Clark's digital army witnessed. Within hours, social timelines transformed into a courtroom. The verdict was immediate. White didn't just mismanage minutes. She abandoned her own system. And now, the franchise is bleeding credibility. But the post-game breakdown hides something darker. A front office war playing out in real time. When a coach publicly begged for help after freezing her best reserve, she isn't asking for trades. She's throwing ownership under the bus to save her own seat. The fans saw through deflection instantly. The box score is mathematical. The tape is undeniable. The contradiction is suffocating. White preached load management for 4 straight weeks. She promised smart rotations. She guaranteed protection for her rookie icon. Then she ran Clark in the ground on night 1. Now the physical toll is showing. Clark needed manual spinal adjustments in the tunnel. Twice, her legs were gone. Her back couldn't hold. And the coach just stood there, watching, admitting it. But the real damage isn't physical. It's cultural. The Fever aren't just struggling tactically. They are fracturing. Every press quote, every draft night remark, every detached social media post. It all points to a terrifying reality. This organization has completely lost its narrative. And when a head coach broadcasts desperation on national airwaves, the entire building feels it. The locker room hears it. The fan base is screaming about it. But there's a deeper layer to this meltdown. Something ownership refuses to address. A structural rot hiding behind championship hype. Because if White can't navigate a 10-second timeout, and she won't deploy her healthy veterans, then who exactly is calling the plays when the pressure peaks? The answer will change everything. Here's a question that keeps Fever fans awake at night. If the rotation was broken, why freeze the one player who actually worked? Shatori Walker-Kimbro wasn't just available. She was electric in preseason. 18 points. Instant gravity. The kind of veteran spark that changes momentum when stars gas out. White benched her. On purpose. While Clark's back seized. While Mitchell's legs turned to concrete. While Boston fought for every rebound alone. That isn't a coaching choice. That is a confession in street clothes. And the fan base isn't just angry. They are mathematically furious. 73 points from the big three, 0 from the bench that mattered. You cannot preach load management for a month, then torch your franchise player in overtime and blame the roster. The contradiction is too loud to ignore. ESPN analysts are side-eyeing the footage. NCAA pipelines are watching how Indiana treats its generational talent. And Caitlin Clark's digital army, they are not just commenting. They are organizing. Every clip of White's panic timeout, every screenshot of Walker-Kimbro's DMP, every quote about needing a good rotation is being weaponized. This isn't fandom anymore. This is accountability activism, and it is spreading faster than a fourth quarter fast break. But the real story isn't on the court. It is in the front office. When a head coach publicly admits strategic failure while freezing a healthy scorer, she is sending a message, not to the fans, not to the media, to Lynn Dunn, to Amber Cox, to Kelly Crosscup. She is saying, fix this, or I fall. That is corporate chess played with human pieces. And Clark is the queen being sacrificed for position. The Fever's communication has been a masterclass in tone deafness for weeks. Draft night comments that felt dismissive. Social media posts that looked AI-generated and soulless. Glazing White for a Team USA nod 24 hours after collapse. Each misstep didn't just annoy fans. It eroded trust. And trust, once broken in sports, doesn't heal with a win. It demands transparency. It demands consistency. It demands a coach who knows her rotation before the clock hits 0. Yet here we are, one game in, and the franchise is already at a crossroads. Play Atlanta Wednesday. Tickets at $19 on the secondary market. Thousands of empty blue seats waiting to tell a story. White has 72 hours to answer the question she created. Will she deploy Walker-Kimbro? Will she protect Clark's minutes? Will she call a timeout without asking her assistants what play to run? The stakes are not just about wins and losses. They are about identity. The Fever built a brand on Clark's arrival, on hope, on a new era. But hope without execution is just noise. And right now, the noise is deafening. Social media, they remember. They remember Sue Bird demanding clarity from her coaches. They remember Diana Taurasi calling out complacency. They remember Io Wilson turning pressure into legacy. This is that moment for Indiana. But here is the twist nobody is talking about. What if White's confession wasn't weakness? What if it was a calculated power move? A public plea to force ownership's hand before the season spirals? If she gets blamed for the loss, she redirects. If the roster is thin, she makes it everyone's problem. It is high-stakes poker with a franchise player's health as a chip. And if it works, she survives. If it fails, she becomes a cautionary tale coaches study for decades. The Atlanta game isn't just a matchup. It is a referendum on rotations, on trust, on whether a head coach can admit a mistake and fix it in real time, or whether the digital mutiny becomes irreversible. Because if Clark leaves that arena with another back adjustment, another exhausted fourth quarter, another overtime collapse, the narrative won't just shift, it will shatter. And the Fever won't just lose a game. They will lose their story. But there is one variable White cannot control: the voice of fans. The millions who watch every rotation, who track every minute, who hold power in the age of highlights and hashtags. They are not waiting for permission to speak. They are not asking for PR-proof sound bites. They are demanding basketball that honors the talent they came to see. And if Indiana doesn't listen, the consequence won't be a bad take on Twitter. It will be empty seats, silent arenas, a brand that promised revolution but delivered repetition. The clock is ticking. 72 hours. One game. One chance to prove the confession was the beginning of change, not the end of credibility. But before the tip-off in Atlanta, there is one final question that changes everything. What if the person who can save this franchise isn't in the huddle, isn't in the front office, and isn't even on the roster? What if the answer has been screaming from the stands all along? The most dangerous force in sports isn't a superstar. It isn't a championship roster. It isn't even a viral highlight. It is a fan base that stops believing. And right now, Indiana Fever fans aren't just doubting. They are documenting every exhausted closeout by Clark, every missed screen, every timeout where the coach looked lost. They are compiling a case, not for clicks, for change. This is an internet noise. This is a cultural audit. And the Fever are failing because in today's game, the audience doesn't just watch. They weigh in. They influence. They hold power. Sue Bird built a legacy on demanding excellence from everyone around her. Diana Taurasi turned criticism into fuel. Aya Wilson used doubt as a blueprint for dominance. Caitlin Clark didn't just bring talent to Indiana. She brought a new standard. A generation that expects transparency, that tracks rotations like spreadsheets, that sees through PR spin before the press conference ends. And when that generation feels betrayed, they don't just complain, they mobilize. The Atlanta game isn't just another tip-off. It is a referendum on trust. $19 tickets on the secondary market aren't a bargain. They are a warning. Empty blue seats aren't just vacancies. They are votes. Votes against confusion, against contradiction, against a coach who admits a catastrophic mistake while freezing the player who could have fixed it. Stephanie White has 72 hours. But here is a twist no one saw coming. What if the person who saves his franchise isn't in the huddle? What if it isn't Lynn Dunn making a trade? What if it isn't even Caitlin Clark dropping 40? What if the answer has been screaming from the stands, typing the comments, and sharing every clip of that panic timeout all along? The fans. Because in 2026, fandom isn't passive. It is participatory. It is powerful. It is the ultimate accountability partner. And if Indiana listens, this digital mutiny becomes a catalyst for transformation. If they don't, it becomes the epitaph for a promise unfulfilled. The Fever stand at a crossroads familiar to every great sports story. The sparks after Lisa Leslie, the storm building around Sue, the Aces forging a dynasty through brutal honesty. Greatness isn't born from perfection. It is forged in the fire of confrontation, of admitting the rotation was broken, of playing the healthy veteran, of protecting the generational talent, not with words, but with minutes, with strategy, with courage. Caitlin Clark didn't come to Indiana to be managed into exhaustion. She came to revolutionize the game, to bring eyes, to bring energy, to bring a new era of women's basketball that demands respect, not excuses. And if the organization truly believes in that vision, the next move is simple. Play Walker-Kimbro. Trust the bench. Protect the star. Call the play. Own the moment, because the world is watching. ESPN is analyzing. NCAA pipelines are taking notes. USA Basketball is evaluating. And millions of fans who fell in love with the possibility of this team are waiting to see if Indiana will choose growth over ego. The Atlanta Dream aren't just an opponent. They are a mirror, a chance to show that a confession can be the first step toward redemption, that a coach can admit a mistake and fix it before the next tip, that a franchise can hear its fans and respond with action, not deflection. But if the same patterns repeat, if Clark leaves with another back adjustment, if the bench stays silent while the stars burn out, then the narrative won't just shift, it will shatter. And the Fever won't just lose a game. They will lose the story they promised to tell. So here's the final truth. Stephanie White isn't just coaching a basketball team. She is stewarding a movement. And movements don't survive on hope alone. They survive on execution, on accountability, on the courage to do the obvious thing when the pressure peaks. Play your best players. Trust your preparation. Protect your franchise. The fans aren't asking for perfection. They are asking for coherence, for a rotation that makes sense, for a timeout where the coach knows the play, for a post-game quote that matches the box score. That is not too much to ask, because the most unstoppable force in the game isn't a buzzer beater. It isn't an MVP trophy. It isn't even a championship banner. It is a fan base that refuses to look away, that demands better, that holds the line between promise and performance. And right now, Indiana Fever fans aren't just watching. They are waiting to see if the franchise will finally listen, or if the next highlight won't be a game winner, but a goodbye